Ethan.
Hey, okay, so your opinion on the current state of TV with reboots and cancellations and
First of all, thank you for asking this. Nobody asked me questions like this. Ethan. What do I think with the current state of TV and film? I think things. Hi, Ethan.
hey, okay, so this is yours truly, Mia, and she is an actor, author, podcaster, um, Shondaland person. I don't know what you call that.
Yes, I work at Shondaland on the
After
digital.
the buzz. I
Yes.
deep dived, even though I knew some of these things already, but I deep dived. I didn't even know you had a podcast
I
until
know.
like this week. I thought
That's
I knew everything.
amazing. One, you did your research, go off. And two, I know. I also feel like we've kind of like buried it. Like we're like, wow, that was like a time in our life.
Oh, and sketch comedy
And
person.
sketch comedy, I've really done it, huh? And I forget about these things because I just have ideas, and I'm moving, grooving.
Yes, I love it. What? Also, you had an original channel name, Pop
Oh
Star.
yeah. Gosh, it was Potential Celebrity. That was
Yes.
God, I came up with that when I was 12.
You're like, let's not talk about.
No, it's part of me. It's part of me. I think parts of me, people think I should be embarrassed about it. And when I say it out loud in like a normal conversation in everyday life, it is kind of weird to be like, when people are like, what's your channel name? You're like, Potential Celebrity. Because I'm like, I don't want to be like famous. I can't explain it. Like, it was just a joke. I think like, I don't even remember how the name came along. Maybe my dad came up with it. I don't even remember, but it's part of me. It's part of my life, and I own that, and that's okay.
I love that. What made you want to start a YouTube channel?
Gosh, that's a good question. And it's so funny, Ethan. This is already so good because I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. Like, I know people are like, they say like, how did it start? Or they're like, how did you get into it? But not like what made me want to start one. And honestly, it was just more of a playground for me. Like it was, I think at the time, I mean, it was YouTube started 2005. It was 2007, and
I was born in 2004. That's
isn't that
crazy.
crazy?
Yeah.
You were so young. I mean, I was so young. I was
Yes.
12 in 2007, which is when I started YouTube, and I think it was more like it wasn't like the YouTube of it all didn't come first for me. I wasn't like I want a YouTube channel. I was like I need somewhere to put my videos that I already make, that I have fun making with my friends. I need to show them to people who don't live here, to my aunts and uncles, to my family, to have them just somewhere, and yeah, to share with people and to connect with people. And so I said, I guess YouTube is the place. And so I did it. But I think what made me want to start one is that truly, practically, I needed somewhere to put the videos I was making. Um, and why I stayed on YouTube evolved, of course. But that's kind of how it started.
Can we talk about your book?
Yes, we can, of course.
I love your book. I moved houses during COVID, so
Oh,
it should be somewhere. Like, I'm not gonna interview you and be like, "Oh, I don't have your book." Like, I bought your book and I love it, and it was
thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
But what made you want to write a book?
Oh my gosh, thank you, Ethan. That's really sweet. And okay, what made me want to write a book? I've always wanted to write a book. I think I'm a reader first, so that made me interested in writing a book as a kid. Like I read my first book, and I feel like everyone has that medium. Whether it's like for my husband, he's a big Lego fan. Like he realized he could like erect things, like construct things that were powerful that people looked at, and we have the same similar passion, which is I read a book and I realized, oh, words can move people. This is moving me right now. I and they weren't anything like too serious. It was like Junie B. Jones and like Amelia Bedelia, but I was like, I feel I feel something reading this, and I wanted to make other people feel that way because I had so many stories in my head. And so I said I wanted to write a book, but pandemic just happened to line up. I wanted to help people. I wanted to find a way to raise money, and I had the extra time because it was a pandemic and I was a freelancer, and it was that time. I don't know if people remember this, but there was the time where the pandemic started, and then everybody kind of like quite a few people lost their jobs, whether you were freelance, full time, part time, whatever, because everybody freaked out. They were like, "We're not going to have money to afford this," and then they realized, "Oh wait, everything is virtual. We need everyone to do their jobs virtually," and then they like more jobs going along again. So I was in that weird time where a lot of my freelance gigs went down. People were afraid they couldn't pay, so they kind of like, were like, "We don't have work for you right now," and I needed something to occupy my time. And I've always, like I said, wanted to write a book. And I said, I could work on something or I could release something now with what I have. And I did that. So it was still one of my favorite things I have made to this day, I would say.
It's so beautiful. I feel like I need to find another copy. Now I'm like, wait, like I want to reread it because it's been a minute,
So
but I
nice.
remember liking it. Can we talk about Hot Mess
Ah,
Confessions?
my
That's
YouTube, my short-lived YouTube web series. I don't even think I ever went in with I didn't even want to ever make a season 2. I was like, I'm going to do this and that's it. But yes, let's talk about it.
what it was. I think it's one of my favorite things you've made. Like it was just so relatable, and the white girl racist
To this
has
day.
me dying. What was the inspiration behind making the show?
Real. Okay, so I'll give you 2 answers that'll hopefully make you happy. So the inspiration behind making the show is honestly, I was at the worst time in my life. I was an NBC Universal page living in Los Angeles. I was making $12 an hour. I was making less than people working at In-N-Out. And I literally was like, wow, I could quit and flip burgers and make more money. And I was sad and broke. And I was like, I'm probably going to have to find a second job to support myself trying to, get into my dream of working in the entertainment industry. But then I also realized that I was working so hard to get my foot in the door in the entertainment industry, to stay in the entertainment industry. And I realized I didn't have anything that I was making. And making is the reason I wanted to be in this career field. So I was like, I'm not even doing anything for myself. I'm putting all my energy towards other people's dreams and projects. And I said, what about me? What about me?
Exactly.
Exactly. So I made this web series and I said, I'm going to write these little series. I said, and this is fun because at the time, I grew up in the age of Issa Rae, Quinta Brunson. Those are now my TV girls, but people don't understand those were our girls on the other side of the screen. They were YouTube girlies first. And so I was like, wow, they had web series that catapulted them and also these really iconic stories. Like we know iconic moments, like, oh, he got money from them. They created like cool moments, and
Awkward
so
black girl.
yes, and I'm not saying I wanted to be them, but I wanted to be like them. And I didn't think I'd go viral, but I was like, I want to know what it feels like to do that. And so and to create again. And so that was what really brought me out of my hole and made me feel like ownership over my life again, especially my creative life. Yeah, it just made me feel like me again. And it was a great way to bring people together. I feel like one of my biggest regrets, again, I was making $12 at the time, but I couldn't pay my crew. Like all these people volunteered and it was really nice. And I couldn't pay anyone. Maybe I should back pay them. But all these people from my university that graduated from James Madison University were in the show. They helped with the show. I wrote it. I shot it, except I think 1 or 2 episodes. I think my good friend Jeremy, who still lives in LA, shot one. And then there was a lost episode that was shot by my friend Chandler Perry. But that was a fun. If you ever find it, I'll totally upload it. But it was really fun and I had fun in it. It was easier because it was bite-sized. I didn't want to commit to anything too big. So it was just very fun. And then White Girl Racist was based on every microaggression I've ever heard in my life, growing up Black in a suburban beach town.
Yes, I think that's where we bonded because I live in suburbia. I think that's what you call it, right? Suburbia.
Yes.
And like I feel like I relate to you, like dealing with microaggressions and kind of being the only the diversity. I hate saying this, but it's like it's so true, like the diversity hire. So I feel like I bonded with you with that, like with your experiences and what you shared.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. And I knew people could relate. There's so many, I mean, we're talking about it more now, but there are so many ways to be Black. And just
Yes.
because you're one way does not make you not Black. And I also think that with part of that series, I wanted to show that I am a Black girl who contains multitudes. I may not be like you or another Black girl, you know, but I am Black. And this is me, all of me. So
Yeah.
I feel glad that you could relate. And I'm glad that because I knew there were people like me out there.
Yeah, it kind of makes me sad. I'm like,
I know.
but I'm glad like we have platforms and places where we can talk about it and bring awareness. What was After the Buzz like? Was it After the Buzz?
Oh, yes, After Buzz. So, yeah, it was Maria Menounos' company. And it was so nice. Like, I'm surprised she doesn't talk about it more. But she, like, her and her husband, Kevin, are amazing for what they did. They literally paid for this building in Los Angeles, in Studio City, and used it, created a studio to give people in LA who were aspiring like television hosts practice. And it went on an official YouTube. You can YouTube them and they're there and we get practice shows. And it was a short-lived time in my life, but it was a very fun, very educational time. And we just had so much fun. Like, I love talking about TV. You honestly thinking about this now, I'm like, I should do this again. Like, it's now basically gone. I'm not sure if it's fully gone, but I don't think it's around anymore, and definitely not in the same capacity. But I love talking about TV. I love talking about movies. It was mostly TV. But, you know, I talked about Big Little Lies, like being part of that conversation when like Big Little Lies came out, and even smaller shows like Sweet Bitter was based on one of my favorite novels. I loved it so much. And so I think like just being able to talk about that and have that experience hosting was like invaluable. Yeah, really fun.
What was the Shondaland? Because I'm a little jealous of you in this aspect because you got to talk to Tony Goldwyn.
Oh my
and
God,
he's
Tony!
really beautiful. He's really beautiful, and I love Scandal, and I love How to Get Away with Murder, and I love all the Shondaland shows. So what is that like? I don't know what you can say, but what you can say.
Yes, let me tell you, Tony Goldwyn was as nice. I don't know what you think when you see him. I feel like everyone's just like, he's so attractive, and he is. But he was so deeply nice and kind. And they say never meet your heroes, and I'm glad I got to talk to him. He is just a wonderful, wonderful man. I have nothing bad to say. And clearly very talented. I love seeing him right now in Hacks, my new favorite TV show on HBO. So I love seeing him on my TV. It was great and it's fun. So I've had a trajectory at Shondaland. I've been there. It's been almost 4 years. I started as a staff writer. The website was very general. It was like a magazine. We were covering editorial. We were covering lifestyle. I did a series for a year talking to people about friendship, documenting and creating this blueprint for how to be better friends. I realized there was a kind of romantic blueprints everywhere in movies and TV, and how to be a better partner, lover. Where is that for friendship? Like the girls are trying to stick together for life, but it gets messy. Like we go through phases where we're not as available. We go through phases where we have different interests. Why is there no blueprint and not just a celebration? Like there's Sex and the City, and Insecure probably did it better than most. And I think Sex and the City did towards like the end. But what about the fighting with friends, but still hanging in? What about the fighting, but solving it and working through it? You know what I mean? And there's nothing like that. So I felt really passionate for a year. I interviewed like friendship experts and psychologists and therapists and people about their friendships, and that was fun. But then we transitioned more to talking about Shondaland shows. And that is what I'm doing now, which is mostly interviewing Shondaland talent about, you know, what alumni, about what they're working on in the world now, or what's currently on, like The Residence on Netflix just came out, and of course Bridgerton, and just interviewing. I always say, like, basically I create stories about the stories. Shonda makes a story, then I create a story about that story. And that's my job. It's the best job I've ever had.
I love that. I would have worked there. Oh my gosh.
Me too.
You're working there right now.
I know. I love it.
Okay, so I have 2 more questions.
Yes.
What is your opinion on the current state of TV with reboots and cancellations and the woke? I say that
I'm gonna wait for it to come back.
diversity and like everything. So this is a loaded question.
No.
But what is your opinion?
First of all, thank you for asking this. Nobody asked me questions like this. Ethan, thank you for even wanting to hear what do I have to say, but thank you. What do I think with the current state of TV and film? I think anytime it's looking bleak is a time for reinvention. And we're not on the verge of a renaissance, but we could be. I'm feeling inspired because I just saw Sinners last night, Ryan Coogler's new movie. And that is the type of storytelling
On my watch list.
I want to see, where there's so much commentary in there, right? And history, but he's making art and he's making a point, and it's original. It was original, but also every idea ever is iterative of something that's already been done. But it's an original story, and it's breaking box office numbers, barriers, and it's just so good. But it's still making a point. But also, I sometimes borrow, like, Shonda has talked this is not a secret. There's interviews out there about it, but she's like, I'm not speaking to diversity. I'm simply reflecting the world back to itself. We all live here. I'm not starting anything. I'm just saying this is what it's like. There are gay people in the world. There are people of color in the world. There are men and women in the room, and they should all be represented. And that's how I feel. And Sinners was like just immersed in this world where, of course, there's like always commentary. Life is political inherently. Like, anyone who denies that, I don't know what to tell you. Everything we do is political. Everything we see is political. What we buy every single day is political. What we watch every single day is political. The choices we make are political. But also, politics is life. Like, everything being political is simply just being life. And so Sinners was this world where there was a lot going on at the time, but it just was. That was the world they were living in, and they told the story. And I really love that it wasn't fully focused on like Black trauma, but it like addressed the history of that, and like, but also addressed like us moving forward. And so I'm just really talking about Ryan Coogler Sinners now. But with that being said, I think that we can be on the verge of something good. I think where there's a lot of like darkness right now, just in content too. Like, we were kind of on this like up. Like, I wrote a story early on when I was in Shondaland about like, are we returning to a cultural happiness moment? Like, Abbott was really big. Is it Frankie and Gracie? Oh gosh, what's the name of that Netflix show? I've never seen it, but it's like it's like about older women living their lives, and it's just like this thing where it's like happy, and we're not running away from problems, but it's like everything's not about trauma all the time. And then we went through a phase where like then things were about trauma all the time, and I think we've reached this nice blend, or we're reaching a nice blend. Especially with this administration. And I think we want to find a place that is in the middle where we can escape into good stories that are like happy and give us hope, but also are real and are not pretending there's not a problem. So I think we could do it, people. Let's lean into that. That's how I feel.
Yes.
And people are cowards. That's also how I feel.
Oop.
If you can't performative, if you can't say what you said 5 years ago, performative, fake. If you're scared, I listened to a podcast by Kimberly Nicole Foster the other day, and she was like, if you aren't willing to risk anything, you're a part of the problem.
Melissa from Scream?
Yeah. And you know what's going to happen? And this happens. It happened to, the difference is she's a woman of color. We're treated much differently. But also in Kim's podcast, she talked about Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda was blacklisted from Hollywood in like the 70s and 80s, or I think I have the right time period, but she's blacklisted. The Chicks, remember, they spoke out against war and about the current president at that time, and they were blacklisted.
Oh yes, my mom loved the Chicks. So I remember hearing this story.
Old music, even their new music, Gaslighter is a fire album to cook dinner to, okay? And it's like those people were willing to risk something, and I think in like 10 years from now, we're all probably going to go, ooh, we were like not supportive of Melissa, and she was like kind of right. They're not going to do that because she's a woman of color. It usually happens to white people. But, I think that there's something to be said, but it never happens in the present. We always look back and go, yikes, we didn't handle that the best way. So.
Yeah. What? Wow, this got really deep. And like,
sorry.
No, I love it. I'm a deep person. I love having.
Speaking of, I have a Substack newsletter called In Deep, and it's this. It's literally this. Me just going on rants based on fact, but also emotion. I am not scared of emotion. I think it's powerful and we need it. Anyway.
Yes, promote your stuff and come back to YouTube.
I know. Ethan, help me. I don't know how. It's so different now. I'm like shaking my boots, but I've been thinking about it. So we'll talk.
Yes, I love your videos, obviously. But one more question.
Yes.
What advice do you have for inspiring people that want to be creators, want to be in the entertainment field?
Don't be proactive. You are all of your ideas. I think people wait for like the best idea or the good idea for someone to tell them they can. We are so lucky. We have YouTube, we have WordPress, we have Substack, we have what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. We have StreamYard, we have Zoom, we have
Yes.
And screen record, interview your friends, start that podcast, start that newsletter, and think of it as your world. Don't think of it as like, but there's so many out there and no one's going to find this. Focus on your craft, talking to the people you want to talk to, creating the art you want to create. And the rest can come, but I think you really have to want the actual creation. You have to want to create more than you want the attention. And I think someone said it best. Oh my God, I actually wrote it down because it was on a podcast. I think it was on Meghan Markle's podcast, the first episode it was Whitney, the woman who created, I almost said Spanx, but it's not Spanx. Bumble. I'll read it to you because I have a note of quotes always available on my phone. It was Whitney Wolfe Herd. She said, detach from the outcome. When you're creating, detach from the outcome, just make it to the best you can in that moment. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can improve, but don't wait to start. You have to do it. Take advantage of everything out there. Create your own world.
I love that. This has been so amazing. I feel like I could talk to you forever.
I know. FaceTime me anytime.
Yes, I'll have to do a part 2, baby.
Yes, please.
Also, I want to say I love your drunk diary video.
Oh my God, I need to bury those.
No!
I try to own every part of my story, It's a time capsule, if anything else. And maybe that's another thing is think of your body of work as a time capsule. It's okay. Taylor Swift I love Taylor Swift. I have a love-hate relationship with her, but I mostly love for her. That queen Blondie, my girl, she said in her NYU speech that she gave, like, embrace the cringe, do what you want to do. And you may look back and be like, why did I do that? But it's all part of your story. It's a time capsule. So this is me embracing drunk diary.
We love it. It's so funny.
Thank you.
Also, the first video I watched of you was your Disney audition. I've said this to you, but I want to say it publicly. That's the first video I watched, and I love your older videos because they're like a time capsule for that time, your college series. Watched it. I rewatched it recently because I was like doing research, and I just love your channel. Yeah. So like your wedding, I was like, this is a royal wedding. I'm like, well, I need to go outside. Like,
I wish Dan was here. I would tell him to come over right now. I've talked about you to him. I'm like, Ethan is like the best viewer, fan, person, supporter. So yeah.
We love Dan.
We love Dan. And he loves you. Yeah. He's an angel sweetie pie. Gosh, I love him. I could just eat him up. Yeah.
I love your COVID. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're about to be done, but I love your COVID series where you danced and Dan was dancing and like
We talk about it at least once a month. We're like, should we bring it up? Bring it back. So fun fact, Dan loves Abracadabra by Lady Gaga. He loves it. And the other day I was like, Dan, should we just learn the choreography and just do it together and because we would always battle each other. Like I would do a music video and recreate it during COVID era. So everyone knows what Ethan's talking about. And then Dan would choose a song. And I remember it was like, we had a schedule during COVID. It was like, we woke up, we had a little bit of work to do. So we'd work. Then I worked at a restaurant. I was working in a Mexican restaurant at the time as a hostess. And when they weren't getting business because of COVID, they offered family meals for any employees who lived nearby. So we'd walk, get lunch prepared by the chefs that were so nice and given to us for free by the restaurant. It was El Bebe and Circa in Navy Yard in DC, Washington, DC at the time. Then we'd come home, we'd work a little bit more. And then it was like slams laptop shut at 4 or 5 p.m. We would take 2 hours. Like we would alternate days. We'd take 2 hours to learn the dance. Our apartment was like a square with like a wall in between. So we'd like close all the doors. Someone would take over half the apartment and just learn the dance. And we'd have
this is the whole production.
Yeah, no. And we would have put earphones in so the other person couldn't hear what song, because we would do it as a surprise for each other. It was like our nightly entertainment. Like we're on a fucking cruise or something. Like every day we eat and then we go to a show after dinner. And so we'd learn the dance and then we would literally be like, are you ready? And then we would come out in full costume for each other and then do the dance and then record it. So it was a battle every day, but we were like, we should really do Abracadabra and collaborate.
Yes.
So crazy. But who has the time? Maybe it's soon, Ethan. Just because you said it, just for you, maybe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was so nice talking to you. Can you say where everyone can find you?
Yes, Ethan, you're so good at this. I'm so proud of you.
Wait, really? I was going to ask you if I'm a good interviewer.
You are. You're better than me. I'm like Kelly Clarkson, because I'll be like, oh, girl, yeah, me too. And you're just like, let me ask the question. Okay, boop. Oh, love that. Moving on. Boop. I'm like, I should take notes from you. Okay.
Really?
Yes, I should.
Oh, you were on Kelly Clarkson. I'm so jealous.
I was on Kelly Clarkson. That's crazy for Mother's Day.
Yes, your mom is so cute.
Oh my God, she's the best. Well, yeah, that's on my Instagram. My Instagram is @yourstruly Mia. I don't get on Twitter, but that's @hotmessmia, which is where the name came from for that web series. I don't really get on TikTok, but that's also @hotmessmia. I think underscore is in between. Mostly though, I'm available right now via email newsletter. I use Substack, so it's in deep with Mia.substack.com. And my name is spelled MIA. And I write a lot there. So that's what's making me happiest right now. And it's a great way to connect with people and be critical of the world we live in a productive and entertaining way. So I'm really enjoying it.
Yes. Thank you so much for doing this. I can't believe we finally got to do this.
You guys don't understand. Okay, Ethan has been a supporter since I've been on, I started YouTube. Don't say definitely 20 years ago. Oh my God, ew. But you were there. I've known you a long time. It wasn't probably quite 2012, but I was telling Ethan before we got on, I've known him longer than via like the internet, known him longer than some people in my life, which is crazy. So thank you. Really, I was so happy to do this because to be able to chat with someone who's been so supportive through every era of my life, to borrow from Queen Blondie Taylor Swift. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. I mean, truly. So.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Ethan.
Bye.
Bye.